Oh, that's satisfying. Hi creative people, today I'm going to show you how to make this gorgeous mandala clock. They are so easy to make and you could paint yours in any colour to suit your decor. The supplies are coming up if you want to pause the video, or you can find a list and links in the description below. For the clock base you'll need a wooden panel. I'm using a 30cm cradled artboard, but a simple 4 or 6mm MDF board would also be fine. I've prepped this with a thin layer of PVA glue to seal it and then a layer of gesso. And to create the mandala pattern I found these lovely stencils online and I'm trying to decide which one I prefer. I think, although this one's my favourite, I think I'm going to go for this one because it's got a better gap in the middle for the clock mechanism. I'm going to be using Pebio's modelling paste to spread across the stencil and transfer onto the board underneath. So you just want to spread it fairly thin, but evenly across the stencil. I'm holding it in place to make sure it doesn't slip, although you probably could use a spray mount if you have that. I absolutely love this process. It is so satisfying to do. I'm using the spreader to even out the ridges of the palette knife and to give a nice smooth finish, although to be honest it won't be perfect. It's very difficult to get it completely smooth, but it really doesn't matter, it really won't affect the end result at all. So here we go for my absolute favourite part of this process. Oh, that's satisfying. And let's just watch that again. So yeah, that's come out really nicely. I'm going to leave that to dry overnight. I was thinking overnight how many different ways you could paint this. Even just painting it plain with like navy or burgundy with simple gold hands I think would look really lovely. I've decided to go for my signature blues and teals with silver accents. I also had a thought that it probably would have been a good idea to drill the hole for the clock mechanism before adding the pattern, so I'm going to do that now, but I recommend that you do that first. I always start with a smaller drill bit and then work up in size until it's wide enough to fit the clock mechanism. So I'm ready to paint now, and with impeccable timing, here comes the neighbour's cat through the window for a visit. I'm glad she came along before the paints were out. On my palette today is Pebio's metallic pouring paint in cobalt, although I definitely don't think cobalt is the right name for this. It's more turquoise or turquoisey teal in my opinion, but still it's a really beautiful colour. Then we have Amsterdam acrylics, greenish blue and sky blue light. Sorry, you can't really see them on my blue palette, that's not very helpful, is it? To apply the paint, I'm using a goat hair mop brush, which is really soft and it blends beautifully. So I'm just applying the 3 colours together and working in circular motions to blend them all really nicely. The camera's not very good at picking up the contrast between the 3 colours, but it is a really beautiful blend. There's no secret to this technique at all really, you just keep going until you're happy with the balance of colours. I'm going to continue over the edges as well and just keep playing with it until I'm satisfied with the result. This is something I've been thinking a lot about this week actually, about perfectionism, and I see a lot of artists not even starting, and I'm guilty of that as well, because you want the result to be perfect, and actually there is no perfect for this, there's no right or wrong, and there's no mistakes either. I always think done is better than perfect, and really, if you do make a mess and you don't like what you do, then the beauty of acrylics is you can just paint over it. So if you're watching this video and gathering information, watching other videos, I would just really urge you to buy the supplies and start. Just start. Because if you're making art, then you're one step ahead of the people that are just watching these videos and not making the art. And if you need any help and encouragement, I'm always in the comments. So reach out to me anytime. I'm happy with this base coat now. It's looking pretty dreamy. So onto a technique to really highlight the texture. And you could do this by hand if you're feeling pretty meditative and you've got the time to do that. And I'd really encourage you to do that because I think it will be really nice. I'm going to take the cheaty way and do it with spray paint. And I am just going to use this stencil back on top of the texture and then a pretty silvery spray paint over the top of that. You have to make sure to hold this really, really still and obviously use it in a well ventilated place too. Let's have a look how that turned out. Yeah, I didn't really hold that still enough. You can see it's quite blurry, but I kind of like that effect. I decided I'm going to leave the silver towards the middle as it is, but on the outside of the pattern use a fine brush and the original dark colour of greenish blue and just clean up those edges a little bit, and it will also make the silver pop against the darker colour. So it turns out I'm going for the long-winded meditative process after all. So here it is, and doesn't that look good? I'm ready to fit my clock mechanism now. So that's really easy to do that. You just pass it through the back and then find your little nut thingy. Is that what they're called? I can't even remember. Screw that on by hand and then use your flat nose pliers to tighten it, but don't over tighten it. You want it to still be able to move, but yeah, not be too tight. Otherwise that can break the clock mechanism. Then you grab your minute hand and looking from the top, you want to line it up with the top handle of the clock mechanism so that it is at 12 o'clock and gently push it on. And then do the same for the minute hand, line it up to the 12. And then finally the little stopper thing goes on the end. So then looking down, make sure that the hands aren't touching so that they can freely move. So mine are touching here, so I'm just separating them. And then I will move the clock mechanism to check that the hands can move freely. And then all I need to do after that is put a battery in and our clock is done. Thanks so much for watching. If you make your own mandala clock, please let me know. I'd love to see what patterns and colour combinations you come up with. And if you have any questions at all, drop them in the comment box. I'm happy to help. Until next time, have fun and happy creating.